Let's take a look at a few examples where you don't even need to read the passage to answer those questions correctly. What was the purpose of a battery shown in figure 1? The battery was used to, and if you do a quick vertical scan, the only answer choice would work. Why would you ever use a battery? You use a battery to apply an electric field to the paper strip. It's not about amino acid, it's not about pH, and it's not about wetting the paper. The answer choice is G. Right here. In the 2 studies, the purpose of oven drying the mixed soil was to remove all the, it's always going to be moisture. Whenever something is being heated, it's always to remove the residual moisture, the residual H2O. Remember how in the video about dependent and independent variables, we talked about the fact that everything has to stay the same, and that moisture factor could really interfere with the other agents that you're trying to test. So you want to make sure that everything is clean, everything is sanitized, and everything is perfectly dry. So whenever you're heating something up, you're removing the moisture. What was the purpose of the first procedure that was carried out on day 1? Well, again, I just keep laughing. Kai would probably say, well, I don't know, why are they asking me that? I didn't design the study. Well, then obviously he would answer the question. But here we probably need to look at the blurb or a little bit of the paragraph, because there are a few examples that could work, but because we don't know what the procedure was. So let's take a look at 70G. So we go and look at day 1. Experiment 1, and what does it say? On day 1, in preparation for the experiment, a drying agent was placed in each tank. Well, say no more. What was the purpose? Is to remove any H2O present in the tanks. Do you see that ACT kind of has a theme? If one of the answers is to remove the H2O, chances are you're right. Let's take a look at a couple of more examples. What was the purpose of step 3? The addition of O-fen to the flask. The O-fen interacted with. The reason I'm using this example is because I want to show you guys that sometimes you actually have to read the passage to answer the question. With some things like heating up the oven, it's kind of self-explanatory. With tagging, it's going to be self-explanatory. And if you're going to start looking for this information in the passage, you're not going to find anything. If you're going to look for the purpose or the use of the sand bath, that is something that you just need to know. But for this, you're not required to know what this O-fen is used for. So we're going to go to the passage and look. This was from a recent A09. Step 3 is one of our keywords. So is O-fen. So we're going to see that 3 milliliters of O-fen solution was added to the flask, but we don't really get any information about why. So if we look at step 2, the 2 milliliters of this was added to the flask to stabilize Fe2+, the ion. So here we're going to look in the blurb, and remember how our keyword is O-fen. I'm not going to try to pronounce this thing. And here it says, however, when this O-fen is present, it interacts with Fe2+ with ion to form an orange-colored complex. Let's go and try to match to the answer. Guess what? It says that it's used to form an orange-colored complex. The answer is J. One more example where you need to be looking at the passage to answer the question about the job or the purpose. Here, it's a beautiful question. It's about flowers. The anthers were most likely removed from the flowers for the purpose of ensuring that the flowers, if you have no idea what anthers look like, I'm going to show you. Don't worry, because they're used for self-pollination. But if you didn't know that, this information will be provided for you in the passage. So we're scanning for the word anthers, and then before pollination could occur, the anthers, pollen-producing structures, were removed from each flowers. Then the flowers were covered. How can we find out why they were removed? Well, let's go up, and maybe there's something else about it. the flowers can be self-pollinated or cross-pollinated. So why were the anthers removed? Because they wanted to prevent self-pollination. So the answer is B. I hope this really helped you guys to understand the job and purpose questions. One thing to remember, the purpose of any experiment is to determine the relationship between your independent variables and dependent variables. If it's not mentioned on the graph or chart, you can assume it was held constant. You don't have to read most of the time. And then some common jobs of mesh, tagging, sand baths, H2O baths were discussed, and I'm sure this will help you score higher on your ACT science section. Don't forget, every month we choose one lucky person to get on a free tutoring session with me for free for a whole hour, where we can talk about ACT science, if you wish. We can talk about reading, anything SAT and ACT related. I'm so looking forward to working with you in person. All you need to do is you need to subscribe to this channel. You need to give this video a thumbs up, and then you need to leave a comment. And if you leave a comment this month, you will be entered in the draw for this month. And if you didn't get picked this month, go ahead and leave a comment again. Just increase your chances. And this is such a pleasure for me to make these videos for you. If you find them helpful, let me know. Bye.